Brad Gilmore, he challenged me to movie trivia.
So Frank, there was something that we kind of discussed before that I wanted to just lay out on the table here. My, what would you call it, strong suit?
Brad Gilmore, he thinks he knows Back to the Future, which is only like 3 movies, so that's pretty easy.
It will be an all Back to the Future rundown Schmoedown.
Frank Janisch. I'm going to take you down brick by brick, block by block.
They are very nice to each other, aren't they? Just pleasant and sweet?
You go put on your little blazers and your little plastic loafers.
Oh, brother! Brad Gilmore brought the rundown to a whole nother level.
That's simply not going to happen here, little boy. We'll run along and do something else with your time.
And let's get ready to run down!
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Schmoedown Rundown. Introducing first, Frankie Janisch, and the host of the Schmoedown Rundown, Brad Gilmore.
What's up, Movie Trivia Schmoedown fans? Welcome to the Schmoedown Rundown, the official after show for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. I am your host, Brad Gilmore, and I am also the host of the Brad Gilmore Show. And I am broadcasting live here from Houston, Texas, and I'm joined from an undisclosed location, my cohort, Mr. Frank Janisch. Frank, where are you right now?
Right now, I'm in a secure location.
Okay.
It's like one of those when you go on like some reality show, they sequester you for a little bit.
Right.
This is I get sequestered because I'm going to be at the live show. So I get sequestered and I can't.
It's like you're in a trial. Like you've been selected for a jury. You're sequestered. We don't know exactly where you are, but you are somewhere. But you are joining us for this 101st edition of the Schmoedown Rundown, and we have a lot to discuss today. Of course, sort of. But first, I want to acknowledge everybody who participated in our Rundown 100th episode. A litany of guests, including Dan Murrow, John Roca, Ben Bateman, Andrew Ghai, who we're going to talk about today. Mike Kalinowski jumped on for a little while. We also had Aaron Turner joining us. Of course, Chris Clark was a madman trying to produce that entire show. Shout-outs from many, many people, too many to name. And but it was a success. I think it was a good show. And here we are. As promised, we're not going to be self-congratulatory this week, and we're going to actually talk about the Schmoedown, right, Frank?
Yeah, I think it was really like our Schmoedown spectacular version of the rundown when we had just all those guests. That was a lot of fun.
Right.
And Chris, look at this guy with just shameless promotion.
No, continue talking. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's so distracting right now.
I'm just resting my arm.
We don't even have a rundown mug. At least make a rundown mug with all your money you make from Brad Gilmore show. So,
We're talking about in the tens of dollars.
Tens of dollars, yes. I'm just happy to be on 101st episode. That's. I mean, are we going to just start calling it episode 001? Or do we? I don't know. We don't start over, huh?
No, I don't think we start over, Frank. I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that's how it works. I think you just keep
I've never gone this far. I've
Yeah.
never done this before. I don't know.
In the year 2000, we didn't just go back to 0. But you've never gone this far. Never mind. I'm not even going to go there. But let's talk about.
Yeah, I set you up pretty good there.
let's talk about something relevant for once. One of the guys who came and shouted us out, of course, the creator of the Schmoedown, Christian Harloff. He dropped us a little video and a congratulatory video. But Christian Harloff has been quite spicy this week on Twitter, and I just want to talk about this because he put it out there, and I was kind of thrown off by it. But Christian had some tweets about the budget for the Schmoedown not being what he wants, and hopefully this isn't the last season of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. I mean, I felt like we have to discuss this. I mean, what are your initial reactions to those tweets, Frank?
I was I was a little surprised to see it worded that way, because when they launched the Patreon, it was to supplement the budget they were already getting from Collider, and this was to help. The Patreon was to help boost it another level, and to see Christian's tweets about, hey, he's talking about this is going to be the last live event for a while, and then saying, well, let's see what happens after Spectacular. So, not exactly the best thing you want to read, especially when you love this game and we do a show on it, and this community has been built over quite a few years, and it's been pretty fun. So I don't know what the future is of the Schmoedown. If anything, I still think it's going to be around, maybe just in a different iteration, maybe a scale back. I don't know. We haven't talked to Christian about this or anything.
No, we haven't had any discussion, and
so we
didn't tell him we're going to talk about this either.
Yeah, so we don't know anything. I mean, this is all just pure speculation, and I don't know. But I would like to think he will somehow find a way, and because I think he always has found a way to do something he really wants to do, and I expect that to be this case as well. Just maybe it's not. Maybe you don't have 3 leagues. Maybe it's 2 or 1. Maybe it's 1 match a week. I don't know, but I find it a little hard to fathom that the Schmoedown will go away entirely next year. I don't.
Right.
I have a hard time seeing that, but I don't know.
Well, here's something that I know from working in television myself and helping to produce a show. It's very labor intensive, but more than even the labor and the amount of man hours you put into it, it's expensive. It's expensive to have a studio with lights and cameras and performers that you have to pay for, and promotions and advertising and marketing and all kinds of stuff. There's so many costs that go into something that you don't really realize it. We just see a game show twice a week and we think, oh, well, they've got it all figured out. They own the studio. But the deal with the Schmoedown, as Christian went in his tweets today, is a little different. The Collider provides the studio space, but Christian's got to come up with a budget, and that's what the Patreon's for. So I guess the point of bringing this up for no other reason is to maybe let's rally the troops here, because I don't want to see this thing go away. I know that anyone tuning into the Schmoedown Rundown doesn't want to see this thing go away or scaled back or take a step back or take time off, any of that. We don't want to see any of that. And like I said, we haven't talked to Christian, and this is no sort of directive from upper management, but go to the damn Patreon. You know what I'm saying? Throw some extra ducats. If you're a $1 guy, hook it up to $5. If you're a $5, go up to 10. If you're 10, go up to 20.
Look, I'm a $1 person. I give $1 a month.
I'm a 10. I'm a 10. Well, in more ways than one, but I'm a 10.
Yeah. But Christian put out, and other people I've seen also comment that if you just put $1, I spend $1 every month on worse things than the Schmoedown Patreon. I mean, it's really, I understand people are strapped for cash, but I think, someone laid it out, 4 quarters, 100 pennies, all this and that. It's $1. And if everyone did who watched the Schmoedown, they'd be in a much better spot than they are now, I would imagine. So, I'm not going to beat anyone over the head to say, you better give, $1 to the Schmoedown. It's your money. You can do with it. You can do what you want with it.
Right.
I'm just imploring you maybe, to, instead of getting that pop out of the, dispense, or what the hell, what do we call them, a pop machine? There you go. I just totally.
Pop machine. Who the hell calls it a pop machine?
Yeah. Yeah, pop machine. You guys call it soda down there, I guess.
Yeah, we say it. Yeah, soda machine.
Over here we have pop machine. It's a pop machine. So, instead of putting $1 in the pop machine, put it into the Schmoedown. That's all.
I can't take you seriously when you say that, even a little bit. It sounds absolutely ridiculous.
It's a regional thing, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a regional or something. I don't know. Well, you know what? I'm from Texas. We say a lot of things, Look at the.
Don't get me started.
Go look at President George W. Bush's greatest hits. So I can't really say much about, the colloquialisms of the Midwestern region. But just go.
Evildoers, yeah.
Evildoers. This thought's taking a while to thought. It'll take a while to unthought.
I say definitely go to that Movie Trivia Schmoedown Patreon. Give another $1 if you can. Like, if you can. And I'm sure that you can. And, you know, even people who are strapped for cash have spent $1 today on something. If you have to go work a manual labor job and you got to get your Red Bull, that's $3. That's $3 right there. That's $3 right there. If you got to get a cup of coffee, that's 3 months. You know, 4 Red Bulls and you've paid for the year. And so, I don't know. I just, those tweets really took me off guard. And for him to say that publicly, it means that it's a serious situation. And like I said, I want the Schmoedown to keep going. And I might up my donation now, too, or my, you know, patron level amount, too, because I don't want to see the thing go away. And that is what it is. So we'll keep you abreast to this situation, obviously, but I'd be remiss if we didn't speak on it and at least say, go to the damn Patreon.
Yeah.
Shoot. Or shot with an eye, like my grandmother used to say. Let's talk about the live event, though, coming up, Frank, because you said you're in sequester right now.
The live event.
By the time maybe many are watching this or hearing this, the live event is underway or is the day of, or it just passed. But at the time we're recording this, you're getting ready to go to the live event. What are you looking forward to most? You got 2 big matches. You're going to see Dan and what are they called? The Founding Fathers, Dan and John Roca. Supposedly they're the Founding Fathers. We don't know. At least that's what John Roca may or may not have said on the show. Just like I may or may not have run that red light. But we're going to see them in action at the live event against Winston and Stacey Howard. But then we're also seeing Mark Reilly and Jason Inman, which is a very big match. What do you think, Frank? What are you looking more forward to?
So a lot was talked about these 2 matches. You know, you have Dan Murrell and Roca teaming up, Winston Marshall and Stacey Howard. You know, start of the Team Anarchy tournament, and then an Inner Geekdom title defense with Jason Inman and Mara Kanopik. So great matches. But then I've been hearing and seeing stuff posted on the Facebook page or on Twitter, and Christian's kind of alluding to the fact that something else is going to be happening at this live event. And after the past live event, the second one, we'll have to reveal the 5 Horsemen and the whole show there. I was like, I don't know how they can top this.
Because that right now is that not the moment of the year though? Right now in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown,
I would say so.
I think that's pretty much locked up right there.
Yeah. And I know people want to say, well, Merle losing to Andrew Ghai is a top moment, but that's a top match, I would say, rather than moment. But I wouldn't. It's semantics at that point. You know?
Yeah, we'll do an awards preview here at the end of the year.
But I don't know what's going to happen here. I mean, I don't know what's going on with corruption. If that's going to play some sort of angle into the live event, because I think we'll know that it'll culminate at Spectacular, hopefully. But I'm actually looking forward to the other theatrics that are going to be taking place. I think I know what we're getting with both of these matches. They're going to be great matches. Some fan favorites, definitely. Mara has just risen to another level so quick in this league. And then obviously two of the greatest players to play the game, and Dan Murrell and Roca on stage together as a team. It's going to be absolutely awesome. And if this is the last live event for a while, I think Christian's going to do everything to make it worthwhile to last a while. You know.
Yeah. Wait. Watch this. We're going to do something live right now. This is my girlfriend Farah. Farah is calling me while we're doing the Schmoedown Rundown live. Farah, you are on the Schmoedown Rundown. How do you feel?
I feel surprised.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. What are y'all talking about?
We're talking about the live event that's going to be going down at the El Portal Theater on September the 8th, this Saturday. I'm going to get your quick prediction, Farah. Right now, you're going to predict it for us. The main event is the Inner Geekdom Championship match between Mara Kanopik and Jason Inman. Who you putting your money on?
Jason.
You're putting your money on Jason Inman. Well, you know what? That's a good choice. He was in my fantasy league. Surprising, though, you're not going with Mark Reilly, who's the new upstart of the league. Everyone's really excited about her. You know, Frank hates Mark Reilly for some unknown reason. He's a big hater about Frank. We're very suspect about him. What do you think about Frank Janisch?
Oh, boy.
I love Frank.
You love Frank.
Yeah.
I love Frank Janisch.
You've only met him once.
That's all it takes.
He's great.
He's great. Okay, last thing before I let you go here. Frank and I have a upcoming match, the Back to the Future Rundown Schmoedown. There's going to be a lot of Back to the Future trivia. You know that I've talked about Back to the Future to you probably more times than you would have liked to. Who do you got your money on? Brad to the Future Gilmore or Frank Janisch?
I got to go with Brad.
Okay, that's right. Well, we are still, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news, we are still in a relationship, so she chose right. Farrah, I will contact you here momentarily.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, goodbye.
Contact you momentarily. Who says that?
Didn't you like that? That was good. I do appreciate Farrah. You know, she's going with Jason Inman. I think it's a solid choice. He's a great candidate. But anyway, I don't know what they have planned for this live event. You know, maybe Farrah comes out and makes it a triple threat in the live event. I don't know, but I'm with you. I find it very difficult for them to top what they did with the 5 Horsemen reveal. And while we're talking about the 5 Horsemen, how do you think that's played out so far?
Oh, man. Not according to plan. This has been brutal. It's been brutal, man. And Roka's really the only one keeping this thing afloat. I'm not sure what Matt Nose is doing, if anything. And Jason Inman, you know, he's going to defend the title that night. So that would be, if he lost that, that would be 3 of the 5 Horsemen to lose, and only 4 of them have played. So that's, my God, if Jason were to lose, and it's a strong possibility, you know.
So you're the statistician, you're the odds maker here. I mean, your gut is telling you what, and then the stats are telling you what when it comes to this Jason Inman Mark Reilly match.
My gut is confused. My gut is confused. It really is.
That's confused.
Yes.
It's like you just had like a Carolina Reaper pepper. It doesn't even know what's going on right now.
Yeah, it's hard for me to it's hard to decide. But if I look at the numbers and the statistics and the categories in which, you know, each player has performed in, how well they performed in, it all points to Jason Inman overwhelmingly. I mean, it's like, it's not even close. And yet, Mara has won 4 in a row, beaten Kalinowski, who was on a massive hot streak. Same thing with Rachel Cushing.
Right.
And it's like, can she do it a 3rd time? Because the level of play against Rachel, granted, certain circumstances dictated that, you know, it wasn't going to be a super high scoring match or a super accurate, you know, question to answer wise. They were both having their own issues, right? Health, and Mara was in a car accident. Against Mike Kalinowski, she had her best game ever, and she needed to have that kind of game against Mike. So she had 2 matches against 2 high quality opponents who didn't really play up to the level they were previously playing at, but Mara didn't play at the level she was playing at either. She raised it. So going into Jason Inman, I don't know how long he can keep up his hot streak as well. I mean, his past 4 matches, he's 4-0, and he's just, I think he's answering like 88%, something like 87%, something ridiculous. And Mara, she's like in the mid 60s, upper 60s in terms of accuracy. I just, you know, Jason Inman has wanted this belt for a long time, and he finally got it. I have to believe that he's been studying in this off time a lot, and I do think Jason
his
Inman's
last match was Donica, right?
Yeah, defended it against Donica very convincingly. And before that he beat Hector Navarro pretty convincingly as well. And I thought Hector Navarro was going to hold on to that belt for a long time. Lo and behold, I find out Hector doesn't even really study. So, but Jason Inman,
he's a more, you know, shoot from the hip kind of guy.
Yeah, but Jason, I think he puts in the time to hold on to this belt, just like Kalinowski and Rachel and Donica and a lot of the other players in Inner Kingdom. They put in the time to get to greater heights, and Jason Inman, I think, has shown that his work has paid off, obviously, holding the belt. And I know Mara studies as well. I mean, she's really going after this thing. I don't know how a live setting will affect either of them. I don't actually think that much, to tell you the truth. But yeah, statistically, it's just an overwhelmingly in favor of Jason Inman. So, but
I think the one thing they've tried to put a statistic on before that they just cannot
is momentum. There's something about momentum. We can't explain it, but when you're on a roll, I don't know if it's that cloak of invincibility that you put on and you just think that I cannot be stopped and you have that overwhelming confidence about yourself, but there's something to be said about momentum. And right now, momentum, just based on the recency of her play, has to be on Mara Konopic's side, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt, momentum is definitely on her side.
I think so. And that also, I think it's part of it's because she's played more recently than Jason. Jason's had a big gap here between his last match and September 8th, right? So Mara, she's been in a groove playing, and it's been about a little more than a month now that she's last played, but it's been even longer for Jason, right? So I wonder if that long layoff will somehow affect Jason just in terms of and then on top of the fact it's in a live setting. So
right.
there's that's another variable that neither of them I think have tackled before. I don't know if any of them have done live stage stuff before, but in this setting, answering questions, I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't that much of an act between both players. I think they just wanted to focus on the questions. I think it's a lot to put on a show for the audience to concentrate on that, and then switch gears into I got to answer some questions and concentrate and block everything out. I think that's a lot to do. I don't know if they think that way or not, or they can handle that kind of thing. But it's going to be one. I think this is going to be an all-time match. I really do.
I think it has all the makings. I think it has all the makings. So we'll see. But let's transition over to Dan and John, because you said John Roca's the only one keeping this five horsemen afloat. What happens if the GOAT, Dan Merle, comes back in his first two matches, one singles, one team? He takes a couple of those L's, and John Roca goes down with him.
This might actually be the last season of the Schmoedown. I mean, I won't know what to think. I mean, burn it all to the ground. I don't know. It would be a monumental upset for Stacy and Winston, and I don't mean to discount them, but Roca and Dan Merle have such a history in the league of playing. They've won titles. Right. John, he's been the team champion and the singles champion. So there's a lot of pedigree behind those two. And Stacy, while she's very good, Winston, very new to the league, but he's shown some flashes of brilliance. It's a tall order for Stacy and Winston, but if they were to lose Roca and Dan Merle, that theater is going to go absolutely bananas. I think Roca will probably get heckled like crazy. If Roca can kind of keep his emotions in check, I think, and not especially if they get down early for whatever reason, and the crowd starts chiming in, and it gets to Roca, that could be very disastrous. It's gonna be funny for the people listening to this after the live event.
Idiots.
Exactly. Luckily, though, it's just like a few hundred people that are going to think that. But
yeah.
So, it's if they lost, honestly, do you break up the five horsemen at that point? I don't.
Yeah, if they all lose,
I don't think so. But what do you do?
If they all lose and we go into Spectacular with all of them on losing streaks, I think you just have a fatal five-way at Spectacular with all of them. You have a fatal five-way. Throw them all in there.
Just to give them a win?
The ruler is the king of the horsemen. You know,
Give someone a win.
give some, give somebody a win. Damn it. I mean, of course, Rocha got that W last week, so he's got momentum on his side.
We got to talk about Rocha real quick, though. It kind of leads into the number one contenders match, but Rocha has been playing that great, and I think everyone will acknowledge that he got a bit lucky against Bateman. You know,
right?
Although I thought, what was it? His match. I mean, his match against Snyder wasn't like really that bad, but it wasn't really that good either. And we'll talk about this more once we finish Reilly and Ghai.
Yeah, so I said let's get to Reilly and Ghai. Let's talk about it. So I said on this show couple months ago, or maybe a month and a half ago, whenever a collision happened, I said that Andrew Ghai deserves a title shot after beating Dan Murrell. I was laughed out of the building, predominantly by you,
yes,
Mr. Frank
and
Janisch.
a lot of other people. It wasn't just me.
I just heard it from you. You were a very loud minority, but when that happened, it was like we said, it was a big moment in the Schmoedown for the season. And I said, Andrew Ghai deserves a title shot. And then we were told that, well, you know what, he could potentially get one, but he's got a steep hill.
Yes.
I think we were told that by, was it Christian who said that? I believe.
Andrew Ghai said that when he.
Andrew Ghai said it. Andrew Ghai said, yeah, it's a possibility, but I got a steep hill. Mm-hmm. And we found out very quickly thereafter, a steep hill, yes, indeed. Continually going against championship caliber players, former champions. And we found out he was going to go against Mark Reilly. And I'm going to be 100% honest here. Everyone knows I'm a member of the Action Army. But I was very nervous when Yodi Reilly was going to come out of what was a seeming retirement and face Andrew Ghai. I wasn't super confident that Andrew Ghai, not that he would, get blown out of the water. I just thought that Reilly would have been had that battery in his back, and it wanted to really go out there and show and prove and kind of avenge the loss for Dan Murrell. And so I just thought that there were some factors at play here that were in Reilly's corner. But at the same time, we know, he can give you a little bit of that, that Ghai magic. And next thing you know, you catch an L. So I was leaning Reilly, but I wanted Ghai. Going into it, what were you? Were you leaning Reilly and you wanted Ghai? Were you leaning Reilly and you wanted Reilly? Bless you, brother. Bless you, brother. But were you wanting Mark Reilly and leaning Andrew Ghai? I mean, where were you at? Who did you want to win and who did you think was going to win?
I actually did want Andrew Ghai to win.
Yes.
Yes. Because
we're winning Janisch over, Andrew.
No,
we're doing it.
Here's why. Because I love chaos. I love chaos, and this is exactly what would it just stokes the fire of chaos if Ghai wins. What she did. And I thought, I honestly thought, and I think I even said this earlier too, that Andrew Ghai has a good shot at beating Mark Reilly, because Reilly, he's been up and down, although he's been a champion. And the one thing that I thought would help him to victory, Reilly, is the fact that he's one of the best players in the first 8 questions in that first round. He's continually near averaging 7 points. He's with Wolves of Steel. Even in his later singles matches, he was about 6-7 points continuously. So I thought that would carry over, or it hopefully would carry over. And Andrew Ghai, I thought, based on his team performances in the first round, he was he was up and down, but he could pull off these brilliant performances like we saw against Dan Murrell. But I didn't think it was something that could be sustained. And so when I looked at those, I just thought, Reilly probably should win this one. But then again, you got 2 other rounds, and Andrew Ghai, he's got a full tank of gas here, and he's ready to go. And Reilly's been a minute for him. He didn't have a great showing at the free for all, which was very disappointing to watch. And it's been a while since he's been in that environment. And I think what we're finding out here is Andrew Ghai's persona in the ring. It really gets to people, man. And there's no way to compare for it. And there's no way you can prepare for it, and there's only one way to stifle that, and that's if he does not get a lead on you. And like after the first round, if he has a lead over you, he is pumping, just venom at you continuously for the rest of the match. And it's relentless. But the only way to shut that up is if you have a lead over him the entire time. And, it's because this first round was horrid.
Yes, it was not a good first round. So let's talk about that. What were the statistics for round number 1?
So Reilly finishes with 3 points. Andrew Ghai with 4 points. Not good. I mean, Mark Reilly 3 points. That
3
is
points.
That is horrible.
3 points. Incredible.
We saw this with Roca and Bateman. They also scored 3 and 4 points. Roca had 3, Bateman had 4. So it's just the same thing repeating here with team action and a horseman. So that was kind of weird. But when I saw 3 from Reilly, I was like, oh boy, he literally has to go perfect the rest of the game, because I don't think Andrew Ghai, especially, he's good in second rounds. He's good with multiple choices, good with a specific category. Most players are. So to be down just 1, but there's a lot. And then you have, like I said, Andrew Ghai's persona just kicking Reilly in the ass. After that, it's relentless.
He hit that, and that's really what and he talked about it here on Rundown 100, but it was really, that's when he gets in his bag, that's him getting in his bag. And that's where he shines. When he's able to get that, like you say, if he has a lead on you at around 1, you better strap in.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be a fun time for you at all. Like, it's going to be a very awful time for you in a lot of respects. And I think that
he has that chip on his shoulder that he's not as good as people, say he's not. He's not as good. He's not as good as any other player in the league. And so when he's down, he can always come back to someone, or when he's up against someone, he can always come back saying, "Oh, I'm not that good." And he can play this role, and then it gets to you, and he just ramps that up, continually ramps it up. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's a real grade A asshole, but I mean that in like the best way possible.
Yeah,
like he just knows. He's so good. Like, he's just so good. And I know Mike Kalinowski right now has been like the star of the league. He's had this overarching storyline. He's been involved in so many things. But the shining star has really been Andrew Ghai this season. And I don't think anybody would have ever thought that possible. Nobody would have ever said, when we were doing our predictions for this upcoming season, last December or January, whenever it was, nobody would have said, not a soul would have said Andrew Ghai would have a breakout year. Even though, by the way, Andrew Ghai was on my fantasy team. I'm just throwing it out there, and I got kicked in the gonads for I don't even know if that's the right thing, but I got kicked in the gonads, whatever, the nuclear region. I got kicked in for selecting Andrew Ghai, and it's turned out to be a pretty good choice, and I have hopes that it's going to be better. But let's talk about round number 2. Round number 2, who went up first?
Mark Reilly.
Mark Reilly goes up first, and what does he spin?
He gets scores and soundtracks, and he sticks with it. And
did he immediately regret that? Because I remember he spins it, it lands on it, he looks at it for about a second, like a good second, and then he does like the super badass turn and walk back to the table thing. And I just thought, brother, that's not a good move. It's not, the only person scores and soundtracks have really ever paid off for is Christian Harloff, right? Has anyone else just shined in that category?
I mean, Mark Reilly has in the past. He has.
Okay.
But that was in a different time. It was mostly in 2014. But he can't be counted out, though, in scores and soundtracks. And I think, when he spins that wheel, and he almost landed on opponent's choice, right? I think maybe that had something to do with his thinking. Like, I spin this again. It usually kind of always ends up somewhere near the same area that you just previously spun. And so perhaps spinning that close to opponent's choice maybe had something to do with him sticking with scores and soundtracks. Also, along with the fact that he's pretty confident in scores and soundtracks, but I don't think he was prepared fully, obviously, for this round. And it turned out to be a pretty big strategic error.
Yeah. So what was his but I'm talking like percentage wise. What would be his breakdown there? Do you have his percent correctness, his accuracy rating?
Yeah. This was all I can say. It's for sure below his average. Whatever he was averaging, for sure below that. When you get 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 questions correct for just 1 point, that was pretty much the game. That was pretty much the game right there.
Well, yeah. When I saw that, I was like, all Andrew Ghai has to do is slow play this one. I mean, he's just gotta not F up and just stay focused, get a couple of points, and he'll probably be okay in round number 3. 1 point though, was there any question that was asked where you were just like, what the hell? How'd you miss that? Because to me, scores and soundtracks, unless it's like Alan Silvestri, I don't really know much about composers. I don't really pay attention to that. I mean, was there anything that stuck out to you that you're like, how the hell did you not get that?
Not really, just only because I don't have a really strong hold on scores and soundtracks. I like scores and soundtracks.
Okay, so you're like me.
I think I know a little more than the average person, and that's not saying a whole lot, but just like a little bit more. Like James Horner, Alan Silvestri, John Williams, right? Hans Zimmer stuff. Like a lot of the
big
more famous ones, right? And I know like the stuff they've done. But once you get more into like even like with Giacchino and things like that, where he's just now coming onto the scene in terms of at least in my scene or my view, it's. I don't know how to navigate that, and I don't know if Reilly thought it's gonna be more well-known names. I mean, there were some in here, but like these 4 questions, man, it was. I don't know. I think I feel like I don't know if he took some educated guesses. He only went to multiple choice twice, so luckily Andrew Ghai could not steal because this literally could have been a knockout. This was set up.
Yeah, it could have been it. Yeah. Yeah, and Andrew Ghai didn't get any of those steals, but Andrew Ghai goes up to the wheel. Take it from there, Frank Janisch.
Yeah, he spins Christopher Nolan, and that's when I was like, oh boy, because I've watched their show, Action Anatomy. Is that what it is?
Action Anatomy, yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's the proper name. I watched it, and like when they cover Interstellar, and they kind of like go through Nolan's history and stuff, and talk about Memento and Dark Knight, and I mean. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have like that big of a catalog, but like all the movies he's done are like really, really well known. So like odds are, even if you're not like the biggest Nolan fan, you've probably seen them because they're popular films. And Christopher Nolan, I think, has only been picked once or twice. It's been picked once before, maybe twice. So the well of questions isn't that deep yet, and. These were some really, I thought, easy Christopher Nolan questions, especially if you're a fan of him. This was going to be a cakewalk, and that's exactly what happened here for Andrew Ghai. He got 6 out of possible 8. Probably should have had a perfect round. I think he's kicking himself about that one. But, yeah, when you get such a narrow category like Christopher Nolan as compared to a very broad category like scores and soundtracks, I think people, are able to hone in and really concentrate. And you're not, with scores and soundtracks, you're like flipping through many different aisles, right? Christopher Nolan, you're just in one aisle, it's either the left or the right side, and it's a pretty good way to go.
It's really like, what it really is, with scores and soundtracks, say you walk into a super Target, and with scores and soundtracks, you're in like the pharmaceutical section. There's all kinds of like different pills and bottles and this and ibuprofen and Tylenol and Ambisol and I don't know what the hell. And then with Christopher Nolan films, it's like you're in the peanut butter aisle. You got Jif, you got Peter Pan. There's not a lot there, and you probably have heard of all of them. So that is a good analogous there, Frank Janisch. But he does okay in Chris Nolan, I guess you would say, and at least well enough to get to the next round and have a pretty distinct advantage.
Yeah, he's up 6 points. And only
something that you've said. Mm-hmm. Yeah, only something you've said always sticks with me, and I always look at the score going into it. If it's a 3-round match, I always look at the score going into the 3rd round because you said there's only been, a couple people who have overcome a 5-point deficit?
Yeah, so Makuga overcame a 6-point deficit to Finstock when it was or Dagnino rather, when it was a 5-round match. He was down 6 points after 2 rounds. That was a 5-rounder. And then there was another match. It escapes my memory at the moment. I think it was fairly early on. I can't remember at the top of my head, but it was overcame a 6-point, and that was a 3-rounder. So it's only been done once in a 3-rounder, once in a 5-rounder. So history was not on Reilly's side here.
Well, you need to get those points, Frank Janisch, and then he gets into his second question, his 3-pointer. Needing to get this, he'd still be 1 point behind. So still a lot of tension on this question. What was the second question?
Yeah, it was coming of age. Wolfman Jack spins classic rock and roll tunes in a small California town in what 1973 coming of age classic? And
he gets it correct, of course. He gets those 3 points, and now he's 1 behind Andrew Ghai. It's still 10-9 as the third question rolls around, which was in the category of Disney. What is the name of the kingdom in which the movie Frozen takes place?
That's brutal.
I'm a Disney guy, and I was like, holy hell.
That's brutal.
That is a 5-pointer if I've ever heard one. And he used his JTEs. He tried to pull something. I knew the writing was on the wall there. He wasn't giving us the Andrew Ghai, Ben Bateman special. No. We were not getting the tease until the last moment. That was not what was occurring. What was occurring was a horseman who had fallen off of his horse and had
He never got on the horse, Brad.
He never got on the horse. That is,
horse,
he was just sitting on the buggy, just kind of waiting for it to go. Yeah. And it never got in full gear there. He loses, gets the question wrong. Andrew Ghai doesn't even have to go. And it is 10-9. Andrew Ghai defeats another former Movie Trivia Schmoedown champion, a 2-time Movie Trivia Schmoedown singles champion. And he is now 1 away from getting a title match. Now, he has to go through John Roca.
Oh, God. Oh,
John Roca and Andrew Ghai have a long history between each other. And as far as we know, one could still allegedly be the other one's father. We're not exactly sure. I don't think Rory ever got involved.
Yeah, I think that's
but it still could be a possibility. But one of these men will get the shot at William the Beast Bibiani. Beast was asked on Twitter, who would you like to face in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown? He said Andrew Ghai.
Yeah. I know why.
That says a lot, though. No. That says a lot, though, even given the history between Bibbs and Roca, that he would rather take down Andrew Ghai or attempt to take down Andrew Ghai. What do you think, Frank? Number 1 contenders match. Who you got your money on? Who's got a better shot against Bibiani?
Who's got the better shot against Bibiani? It's John Roca, and I'm going to pick John Roca over Andrew Ghai. I've been on John Roca's side from the very beginning of this thing. From the very beginning, the Schmoedown came back onto Collider. I've been in Roca's camp the whole way through top 10. I'm not about to abandon ship now, and I think John Roca actually got pretty lucky with this one. And look, you can bash me all you want. I don't really care. I don't know how long Andrew Ghai can keep up this momentum. He had a very, very bad first round, which is in line with what he's done in the past. It's been more bad than good. Look, all right, Roca, he didn't have a great first round either last match, but
they scored them. It was the same score.
I know.
Almost.
But his generally his first rounds are really, really good. History has shown that. So just like it had shown with Reilly too. Again, this game can turn like an instant on you, right? But I think most reasonable people would acknowledge that over the course of John Roca's career in the Schmoedown, and you look at Andrew Ghai's career in the Schmoedown, I think most reasonable people would agree that Roca has more movie knowledge than Andrew Ghai. Now, where the thing this match gets evened up is Andrew Ghai can get to people.
Right.
Andrew Ghai can get to people, and I think
absolutely
when you look at John Roca, who in the past has been very susceptible to things that Andrew Ghai likes to pull, we've seen it in a top 10 action match can Andrew Ghai do it again to John Rocha and really even this playing field out by getting in Rocha's head? At the same time, Rocha knows what Andrew Ghai likes to do. He's seen it done firsthand to him in team matches, and he's seen it done against Dan Merrill and Mark Reilly recently. If John Rocha can be if he can be the Zen master in this game and completely shuts out Andrew Ghai, I think John Rocha can walk away with a pretty convincing win, actually. Andrew Ghai, he's going to have to pull all the tricks out of the bag for this one. I really do. Again, we'll know where this match is going after the first round. I very much believe in that.
I think stats show that we'll know who's kind of got momentum on their side after round number 1. But I don't know, man. We've doubted him now 2 times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
We've doubted him 2 times in a row against 2 horsemen, against 2 former champions. We keep doubting the guy.
Real quick, Rocha's been playing consistently in the league. He's had some gaps of
more recently. He's been playing.
But Reilly and Merle had such long breaks, such long hiatuses. I think that played a factor. Rocha, he's not going to have that much rust on him.
He's not going to have as much rust on him, but he's still even the Andrew Ghai that they played at the Spectacular in the team action match. Even that Andrew Ghai is different from the one we have now. I think agree. This guy has turned up to 11. And John Rocha, he might have played more recently, but he has not played the recent Andrew Ghai. And I think that Andrew, he might not be ready for what Drew Ghai is going to be laying down, as The Rock said many, many moon ago. And I love John Rocha too. Rocha's my guy, but Andrew Ghai's my guy. You know what I mean?
I think Rocha, he's been doing this too long to realize he's in a spot right now where he can get another shot at the belt. And Andrew, I don't think he's going to take Andrew Ghai lightly. I think he's going to go in there as focused as we've ever seen him. I'm talking like Rocha Christian, that match where he was that focused, that run. I think he's going to walk into this match that focused. I really don't think Andrew Ghai's going to get to John Rocha in this match. It's not in his persona. The questions and all that, the game might get to Rocha, but Andrew Ghai will not get to Rocha in this match, and I think that's going to carry Rocha to victory in this one.
Well, we're going to find out here in the very near future. We will also, but hopefully, now, do we know when the live event is airing, Frank? Is it going to be the following week like it was the last time? Do we know yet? Chris, do you know?
Yes, it will be. Yes, it will be. It will be airing next Tuesday and Friday. Tuesday will be the Inner Geekdom Championship, and on Friday will be the premiere of the Anarchy tournament.
All right, so we will know the winners of both of these matches next week. We might have a new champion, and I think we're gonna have some people on from the live event to talk about their experience there. So I think that's safe to say.
Congratulations to the August 2018 Patreon giveaway recipient, Michael Fiesta. Pictured here is what you got, my good man. You are a treasure and a rock star.
Let's go around the room. First of all, we're going to start with our producer extraordinaire, Chris. What's your name and where you're from?
I'm Chris Clark. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChrisClark8788. Those numbers mean nothing. And on YouTube at Takes Me Productions.
L-Town PA is in the building. Frank Janisch, what's your name and where you're from?
Chris, what's your real name? Give us your real name.
Okay, it's not Cristoforo Tomato like ketchup Heinz. It's not that.
Vicente Fox.
Yeah, Vicente Fox. It's Cristoforo Paolio Piscetta and then Clark.
Yo, Chris Clark's name definitely sounds like a founder of a country. It also sounds like it might be some sort of diet, like the Cristoforo Paleo diet or something like that. There's a lot of ways you can go with your name, Chris. I love you. Frank, what's your name? Where you're from?
Yeah, I'm just Frank. That's it.
There you go. You can find me on all social media at Brad Gilmore. Find him at FrankieJ29 since he wants to be a smartass. Check out the Brad Gilmore Show and Back to the Future, the podcast, weekly and heated conversations. And that Back to the Future Rundown Schmoedown coming up. We're about 6 weeks away, Janisch. 6 weeks away. I'm going to tear your ass up, brother.
Okay.
That's all he
Cool.
says. Okay. Well,
Great.
this has been another edition of the Movie Trivia or the Schmoedown Rundown. I do that all the time. I can't get over that. This has been another edition of the Schmoedown Rundown, episode 101, and we will see you all next week.